if they are outrageously stealing our ideas, our IP in the field of dharma, then why are we talking about mutual respect? Part one.
If they are
Part
what?
two,
If they are what?
if they are outrageously stealing our intellectual property, IP, geographical indicators,
Yeah,
like champagne is only from France,
right,
or basmati is only from the Indian regions, right? So why are we talking about mutual respect? Point one. And he also is asking very pertinent questions. Most of the things that you say are very politically incorrect. How do you have the, how do you muster the courage to do so? Okay, point two. This is a second question. Third question was, you have been talking about a certain book called the UTurn Theory. When is it coming?
Okay.
So all three are kind of related.
Okay. Second one, why am I able to be politically correct and not be bothered? Because I really don't think I'm getting into politics. I think I'm basically speaking the truth as I understand it. And I'm anchored and rooted in my own adhyatmic flow and in my own sadhana and in my own practice. For the first 10 years after my transformation with the help of my guru, I wasn't out there talking to anybody. I was just quietly doing my sadhana, trying to discover myself, learn about myself, become centered, become strong. And then by the time I started getting out, even that I didn't make an effort. One thing after another brought me out and brought me into this opportunity and that opportunity. So I started engaging the world more and more. The point is that this is all a natural flow for me. So there's no premeditated goal. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking for an appointment. I don't care. In the end, I'm just giving how I feel things are. And therefore, I'm able to defend them. And I'm not working for an institution or religious group or church or any Hindu group or any political group. So because I'm working only for my own ideas, I'm able to defend myself. So I feel that the courage comes from the clarity and the confidence of one's own sadhana and one's own thoroughness, the rigor. So this is the second one. The third one was UTurn Theory. UTurn Theory is his book on how things are taken, then they are removed from the Hindu context, then they become neutral, then they are Christianized, then the original source is bad-mouthed and demonized, and then all this is sent back to India and we love it. This kind of a U-turn goes on, and it's been going on for hundreds of years in one field after another. And so this U-turn theory I'm writing on for 20 years now. The point is that every time I feel I'm ready, I get many more examples. So now this Sanskrit computational linguistics is a new thing I have to read. So now my book says this U-turn theory will be like 6 to 10 volumes. So it's become very big. So now my problem is that, I'm 63, I can't just go on waiting because who knows what may happen. So I'm also thinking that maybe I should come up with a simple volume, which is not so ambitious, not so complete, but itself will have so much material that I'll just write a very simple overview and make it a popular book rather than a very detailed academic book. So I'm thinking of that. That way I'll get it out quicker. The first question was what?
Everybody is so outrageously stealing our dharmic IP.
Okay.
Why do we talk about mutual respect?
See, mutual respect is a very different thing than whether they're stealing or not. Mutual respect says, I respect you provided you respect me. It is a way to bring out the hypocrisy of the other side. Because if the other side has an exclusivist religion, very exclusivist, which means that they cannot respect other people, then rather than saying you are wrong, I'm right, because that's not going to work, that looks like I'm passing judgment. I want to say it in a way that he comes to that conclusion on his own. So I offer them mutual respect. And mutual respect means I respect you for the faith you have, provided you respect me for the faith I have. It is the other guy, after you keep discussing and arguing, that fails the test of mutual respect. I'll give you two specific examples. When there was 9/11, after 9/11, the Muslims in US were very scared because of they were afraid of attacks and all that. So there was suddenly this Hindu-Muslim bye-bye coming from Muslims. Muslims were inviting me on radio shows. They all wanted to show solidarity with Hindus. So in Texas, I was invited to a radio show, and I was talking about this idea of mutual respect. And this lady, who later I was told is a Pakistani activist and very well-known leader, she calls during the Q&A and says, Rajiv Bhai, good to have you, welcome. We, the Pakistani community and Muslim community, are very proud that you are talking about mutual respect. we also believe in mutual respect, and we are totally in agreement with you, and now we have to be moving together as brothers and sisters because we have mutual respect. So I said, I'm very happy that you respect me, but I want you to know what you are respecting. I'm happy that you're respecting me as a Hindu, which means you respect my practice of worshipping through images and murtis. And I'm very happy that you are respecting my worship of the divine as feminine, goddess, and because I know these things are not allowed to do. And I'm very happy that you respect my idea or my belief in karma and reincarnation. She hung up. Because, see, this is a sham. So what I'm showing is a sham. It's a sham. I give you mutual respect, and your sham of saying yeah is very easily exposed. Second example, in Mumbai, 2 weeks ago, a rich industrialist hosted an event for me, supposedly that he will get all his rich friends to support us. But it turned out to be more of a self-aggrandizement event from himself, self-promotion for himself to show off for his friends. So he threw a nice dinner and a lot of these rich guys were there. And in that event, there were good solid Hindus and there were one or two he had brought who were going to oppose this. And this is a very good technique. You can bring one or two guys and then they can throw out things and you're expected to be afraid and run away. But rather than being afraid and run away, I took him on. And so host is now getting a little nervous because I'm taking him on. This is his other guests. So the issue was, one guest said that this business of being different is going to, and this business of saying we have an open architecture based on our dharma is going to make certain Muslims and Christians very uncomfortable. He said, this is one of the guests said. So it's wrong. Why are you making them uncomfortable? I said that I'm offering an open architecture where they are to be respected. But the question is, are they willing to come into an open architecture where the rules are that they must respect others? So he said, well, I'm not sure it's a good offer because they may get uncomfortable. I said, if they're uncomfortable respecting me while I'm willing to respect them, then why is it my problem? So he says, okay, now let me ask you this. What would you say to somebody of another religion like Islam who's been living in this country for 1,000 years? And he's an Indian. I mean, he pays taxes. He looks like us and he eats with his hands and he started telling me all those things. So he's exactly like one of us. He's an Indian like anyone else and but he's a Muslim. So I said, look, I'm happy that he's proud to be an Indian, but I want to go deeper into that. We have India as our sacred geography, our river, our mountain, our sacred sites. Our itihas happened on this sacred soil. So this sacred soil is very special for us. The question is, are your friends, the Muslim friends you're talking about, willing to consider this as their sacred land, or is their sacred land somewhere in the Middle East? He got very uncomfortable. He said, well, you see, they can be very good Indians and very patriotic, but they can have a sacred land somewhere else. So I said, okay, but then what it means is their sacred land somewhere else was the location of their sacred history. They consider themselves to be members of a certain history that happened. They're part of that history, which happened somewhere else to those people. So their sense of identity is that we are connected with those people in that place. So therefore, if they're connected historically and geographically with those people in that place, while they are paying their taxes and they are Indians, what happens in the event of a conflict between that place and this place? What happens if there are certain ground rules we want them to follow, whether it is unified civil code, whether it is Vande Mataram, whatever it is, and the instructions from the headquarters somewhere else come differently. Where is their loyalty? He said, we should not even talk about all this. So you see, by offering mutual respect, the whole audience knew that those guys are the ones, they're hypocrites, the guy who was talking like that. So my ability to offer something which is level playing field in a way that it is the other guy's hypocrisy that gets exposed. It comes from the fact that I'm being extremely honest when I offer this from my side. I'm not playing a game. I'm genuinely honest that we can and do and must offer mutual respect. But mutual has to be there. It cannot be one-sided. It cannot be that it is unconditional respect for you even if you kick me around. It cannot be like that. So it has to be from a position of confidence, a position of strength, but at the same time compassion and equality and respect for other people.
Wonderful. Quick question.